name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're doing my bookshelf tour. So these are videos that I have really liked watching other people do, and I know there's a lot involved with them, and that is the reason why I've never actually done one on my channel, even though I've been on here for like 2 years now. But I figured since we are in a brand new year and last month I redid all of my shelves, I figured this would be a perfect time to actually show you guys everything that I have. Hi kitty kitty. So I did want to just double check my Google spreadsheet because I actually do have an inventory of all of my books, and it should actually be up to date. According to this, I have 1,213 books on all of these shelves, and so I'm really hoping it's not going to take forever to show you guys all of these, but I'm also hoping the end product is really, really nice to watch. I'm going to show you guys, I think, an overview of the shelves right now before we get into like the nitty-gritty books per shelf. So let me grab the camera. So this is my living room area, and we have shelves starting over here with like adult, going into fandoms and YA, manga, here's our TV, and then basically middle grade. So while the lighting is good, I think we're gonna have to jump right on into filming the actual bookshelf tour, and I will see you guys at the end. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do is start at our top left shelf, where we basically just have all of my Lord of the Rings things. The Hobbit, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King, all by J.R.R. Tolkien. And then we have my original Lord of the Rings from 8th grade, so we have The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien, The Hobbit Illustrated Edition by J.R.R. Tolkien, illustrated by David Wenzel, Gollum: How We Made Movie Magic by Andy Serkis. This shelf here starts off with my classic books and then moves into my more contemporary style adult books. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, Lord of the Flies by William Golding, The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, The Time Machine and the Invisible Man by H.G. Wells, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey, The Sirens of Titan by Kurt Vonnegut, Andersen's Fairy Tales by Hans Christian Andersen, Strange Stories from a Chinese Studio by Herbert A. Giles, Spring Awakening by Frank Vendiken, S by J.J. Abrams and Doug Dorst, The Blackstone Chronicles by John Saul, Final Girls by Riley Sager, The Secret History of the Pink Carnation by Lauren Willig, and then these next three are my husband's books, the only books that he has on my bookshelves: The Three-Body Problem, The Dark Forest, and Death's End by Chi-Chin Liu. Okay, and then these are more sort of sci-fi and fantasy adult books: Armada by Ernest Cline, Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, Welcome to Night Vale by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner, The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis, Wicked, Son of a Witch, and A Lion Among Men by Gregory Maguire, The Bone Season, and The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon, Battle Royale by Koshin Takami, Blackbirds, Mockingbird, and The Cormorant by Chuck Wendig, Blackbirds, Mockingbird, and The Cormorant by Chuck Wendig. I have 2 copies of these books because they stopped making the covers / the mass market size, so I got the new ones. And then these are mass market adult books that I have read: The Clan of the Cave Bear by Jean M. Ayul, The Clan of the Cave Bear, The Valley of Horses, The Mammoth Hunters, The Plains of Passage, and The Shelters of Stone, all by Jean M. Ayul, Stormfront and Full Moon by Jim Butcher, Working Stiff, 2 Weeks Notice, and Terminated by Rachel Kane, Ill Wind by Rachel Kane, All Around the Town by Mary Higgins Clark, Time's Eye by Arthur C. Clarke and Stephen Baxter, Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, Stardust by Neil Gaiman, The Princess Bride by William Goldman, Hounded, Hexed, and Hammered by Kevin Hearn, Odd Thomas and Forever Odd by Dean Koontz, Watchers by Dean Koontz, and What the Dickens by Gregory Maguire. Okay, and then this part is going to start the TBR section. Basically, the bottom 2 shelves of every bookcase are TBR books. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, The Witches of Echo Park by Amber Benson, The Carver, The Unseen, and The Hummingbird by Jacob Devlin, A Tale of Red Riding, Rise of the Alpha Huntress, and Fate of the Big Bad Wolf by Neo Edmond, It Devours by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner, An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green, The Gospel of Loki by Joanne M. Harris, Lost Boy by Christina Henry, Charming by Elliot James, Seer from the Green by Lauren Jankowski, Alias Hook by Lisa Jensen, The Institute by Stephen King, Nevernight, and Dark Dawn by Jay Kristoff, The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, Heroine Complex by Sarah Kuhn, Big Damn Hero, and The Magnificent Nine by James Lovegrove, consulting editor Joss Whedon, Dusk or Dark or Dawn or Day by Seanan McGuire, Every Heart a Doorway, and Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Seanan McGuire, Un-London by China Mayville, 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami, Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Nouvelle, Waking Gods by Sylvain Nouvelle, The Surface Breaks by Louise O'Neill, Night Film by Marisha Pessel, Hook's Tale by John Leonard Peelmeyer, Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Rowanhorse, Trailer Park Fae by Lilith St. Crow, Steelheart, and Firefight by Brandon Sanderson, The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson, A Darker Shade of Magic, A Gathering of Shadows, and A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab, Vicious and Vengeful by V.E. Schwab, The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon, The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay, The Chalk Man by C.J. Tudor, The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton, Invasive by Chuck Wendig, Thunderbird and the Raptor and the Wren by Chuck Wendig, Night Shifted by Cassie Alexander, The Warded Man by Peter V. Brett, Cry Wolf by Patricia Briggs, Grave Peril by Jim Butcher, and Heat Stroke by Rachel Kane. Now we're moving over to the second bookshelf, and these are the Star Trek shelves. Star Trek The Motion Picture by Gene Roddenberry, Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan by Vonda N. McIntyre, Star Trek III The Search for Spock by Vonda N. McIntyre, Star Trek IV The Voyage Home by Vonda N. McIntyre, Star Trek V The Final Frontier by J.M. Dillard, Star Trek Into Darkness by Alan Dean Foster, Strangers from the Sky by Margaret Wander Bonanno, Probe by Margaret Wander Bonanno, The Lost Years by J.M. Dillard, The Janus Gate by L.A. Graff, The Vulcan Academy Murders by Jean Laura, Mission to Horatius by Mac Reynolds, Starfleet Academy Delta Anomaly, The Edge, The Gemini Agent, and The Assassination Game, Red Shirts by John Scalzi, Night of the Living Trekkies by Kevin David Anderson and Sam Stahl, Star Trek Vulcan, I Am Spock by Leonard Nimoy, Leonard by William Shatner, Star Trek Memories by William Shatner, Star Trek Boldly Go Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Mike Johnson, and then a collection of different magazines featuring Star Trek as well. And now we're moving into the second row of Star Trek books. The Entropy Effect by Vonda M. McIntyre, Vulcan by Kathleen Sky, Spock, Messiah by Theodore R. Coswell and Charles A. Spano Jr., Spock Must Die by James Blish, Planet of Judgment by Joe Haldeman, Yesterday's Sun by A.C. Crispin, Corona by Greg Bear, Blackfire by Sonny Cooper, The Final Reflection by John M. Ford, The Vulcan Academy Murders by Jean Laura, Uhura Song by Janet Coggan, Ishmael by Barbara Hambly, Killing Time by Della Van Hise, Mind Shadow by J. M. Dillard, Demons by J. M. Dillard, Deep Domain by Howard Weinstein, Dreams of the Raven by Carmen Carter, Bloodthirst by J. M. Dillard, The Idic Epidemic by Jean Laura, Time for Yesterday by A.C. Crispin, Prime Directive by Judith and Garfield Reeves-Stevens, Memory Prime by Gar and Judith Reeves-Stevens, Vulcan's Glory by D.C. Fontana, Double Double by Michael Jan Friedman, The Cry of the Onlys by Judy Class, Doctor's Orders by Diane Duane, Renegade by Jean Deweese, Legacy by Michael Jan Friedman, The Rift by Peter David, Faces of Fire by Michael Jan Friedman, Ice Trap by L.A. Graff, Sanctuary by John Bornholt, Death Count by L.A. Graff, Shell Game by Melissa Crandall, The Starship Trap by Mel Gilden, Windows on a Lost World by V.E. Mitchell, From the Depths by Victor Milan, The Great Starship Race by Diane Carey, The Patreon Transgression by Simon Hawke, Crossroad by Barbara Hambly, The Better Man by Howard Weinstein, First Frontier by Diane Carey and Dr. James I. Kirkland, Twilight's End by Jerry Oltien, Rings of Tati by Dean Wesley Smith and Christine Catherine Rush, The Joy Machine by James Gunn, Heart of the Sun by Pamela Sargent, Spock's World by Diane Duane. Now, all of these are by Stephen King. The Regulators and Desperation, Bag of Bones, Lissy's Story, The Bachman Books, Blaze, Carrie, Christine, The Dark Half, The Dead Zone, Desperation, Different Seasons, Dreamcatcher, Everything's Eventual, Firestarter, 4 Past Midnight, The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, Hearts in Atlantis, Insomnia, It, Misery, Night Shift, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, The Regulators, The Running Man, The Shining, Skeleton Crew, The Tommyknockers, and It. Now we're moving into what I consider my adult romance shelf. The Beautiful Ashes, The Sweetest Burn, and The Brightest Embers by Janine Frost, Halfway to the Grave, One Foot in the Grave, At Grave's End, Destined for an Early Grave, This Side of the Grave, One Grave at a Time, and Up from the Grave by Janine Frost, Once Burned, Twice Tempted, Bound by Flames, and Into the Fire by Janine Frost, Shades of Wicked by Janine Frost, Late Bloomer by Fern Michaels, The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang, The Chase by Elle Kennedy, Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, Captive Prince, Prince's Gambit, and King's Rising by C.S. Picot, Leo Loves Aries, and Scorpio Hates Virgo by Anita Sunday, 99% Mine, and The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. And again, we're moving into the TBR books, starting again with the adult sci-fi fantasy ones. Chill Factor by Rachel Kane, Wormhole by Jay Castleberg, Daddy's Little Girl, and Let Me Call You Sweetheart by Mary Higgins Clark. I guess I realize these aren't actually sci-fi fantasy, these are mass market adult TBR books I need to read. Sunstorm by Arthur C. Clarke and Stephen Baxter, Unshapely Things and Unquiet Dreams by Mark Del Franco, Spider's Bite by Jennifer Estep, Nova by Margaret Fortune, Catalyst, Kozel, and Spellsinger by Alan Dean Foster, American Gods, and Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, Feed by Mira Grant, Something from the Night Side by Simon R. Green, Unclean Spirits by M.L.N. Hanover, Tricked by Kevin Hearn, Clean by Alex Hughes, Touched by an Alien by Ginny Cook, Lightning by Dean Koontz, Prince of Fools, and The Liar's Key by Mark Lawrence, The Lies of Loch Lamora, and Red Seas Under Red Skies by Scott Lynch, Deadly Curiosities by Gail Z. Martin, Rosemary and Rue by Shannon McGuire, Game Board of the Gods by Rochelle Mead, House Immortal and Magic to the Bone by Devin Monk, Night Shift by Lilith St. Croix, Creature, Darkness, and Guardian by John Saul, Between by Carrie Schaefer, Dead to Me by Anton Strout. And now we're moving into the romance TBR. Well Met by Jen DeLuca, The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, Witchmark by C.L. Polk, Altered and Erased by Jennifer Rush, Evil's Unlikely Assassin, and Pierced by Venom by Jen Windrow, The Last True Vampire, and The Warrior Vampire by Kate Baxter, Breakout, Deadly Pursuit, and Death Defying by Nina Croft, Nightwalker, Day Hunter, Dawnbreaker, Pray for Dawn, and Wait for Dusk by Jocelyn Drake, In the Air Tonight, Heat of the Moment, and Smoke on the Water by Laurie Handelin, The Goblin King by Shona Husk, Never Let Me Fall by Abby Rhodes. Okay, so we're moving on to our first smaller bookshelf. So these are like the skinny ones. And at the top, we have my Sherlock Holmes collection. The Illustrated Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, A Study in Scarlet, The Sign of Four, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, The Hound of the Baskervilles, The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, and The Return of Sherlock Holmes, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, all of these by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Now we're moving on to the Doctor Who books. First we have 12 Doctors, 12 Stories, which contains A Big Hand for the Doctor by Owen Colfer, The Nameless City by Michael Scott, The Spear of Destiny by Marcus Sedgwick, The Roots of Evil by Philip Reeve, Tip of the Tongue by Patrick Ness, Something Borrowed by Rochelle Mead, The Ripple Effect by Marjorie Blackman, Spore by Alex Scarrow, The Beast of Babylon by Charlie Higson, The Mystery of the Haunted Cottage by Derek Landy, Nothing O'Clock by Neil Gaiman, and Lights Out by Holly Black. Winner Takes All by Jacqueline Rayner, Only Human by Gareth Roberts, Beautiful Chaos by Gary Russell, The Silent Stars Go By by Dan Abnett, Touched by an Angel by Jonathan Morris, Prisoner of the Daleks by Trevor Baxendale, The Stone Rose by Jacqueline Rayner, Time Lord Fairy Tales by Justin Richards, The Ninth Doctor Weapons of Past Destruction, and Doctor Mania by Cavan Scott. Next, we have my Dragon Age and Mass Effect shelf, Dragon Age World of Thetis Volume 2, a Game Informer for Mass Effect Andromeda, The Art of Mass Effect Andromeda, Mass Effect Andromeda Collector's Edition Guide, Mass Effect Andromeda Nexus Uprising by Jason M. Hugh and K.C. Alexander, Mass Effect Andromeda Annihilation by Catherine M. Valente, and Dragon Age Asunder by David Gator. This is what I consider my dystopian shelf. The Selection and The Elite by Kiera Cass, The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins, Incarceron by Catherine Fisher, and The Walled City by Ryan Groden. Uglies, Pretties, and Specials, Leviathan, Afterworlds, and Zeros, all by Scott Westerfeld. And then these are all of my non-fiction. I Am America and So Can You by Stephen Colbert, You're Never Weird on the Internet, Almost by Felicia Day, Choose Your Own Autobiography by Neil Patrick Harris, Binge by Tyler Oakley, Nerd Duel by Simon Pegg, Yes Please by Amy Poehler, Without You by Anthony Rapp, Self Health, and My Diary by Miranda Sings, aka Colleen Ballinger, and The Hidden Power of Fucking Up by the Try Guys. Okay, now we're moving into the YA books, starting with The Contemporaries. What If It's Us? And The Ark by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. Vain by Fisher Amelie. The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Tanabata Wish by Sarah Fujimura. The Symptoms of Being Human by Jeff Garvin. Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow. I Believe in a Thing Called Love by Maureen Gu. Will Grayson by John Green and David Levithan. Ophelia by Lisa Klein. Draw the Line by Laurent Lynn. We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Killing November by Adriana Mather. The Fixes by Owen Matthews. Kill the Boy Band, and No Good Deed by Goldie Moldavsky, All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven, The Sacred Lies of Minnow Bly by Stephanie Oakes, 7 Ways We Lie by Riley Redgate, A List of Cages by Robin Rowe, Fangirl by Rainbow Roll, The Foxhole Court, The Raven King, and The King's Men by Nora Sokovic, Song of the Sparrow by Lisa Ann Sandell, The Collector's Edition of Introductions, and First Days by C.L. Stone. Introductions, First Days, Friends vs. Family, Forgiveness and Permission, Drop of Doubt, Push and Shove, House of Korba, The Other Side of Envy, The Healing Power of Sugar, First Kiss, Black and Green, and Love's Cruel Redemption by C.L. Stone. Thief, Liar, Fake, Accessory, Hoax, and Tempest by C.L. Stone. Hello, I Love You by Katie M. Stout. Sadie by Courtney Summers. Spud by John Vanderroot. Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. Falling Into Place by Amy Jong. Now we're starting the YA fantasy section. Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. Graceling, Fire, and Bitter Blue by Kristen Kishore. To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. The Wish List by Owen Colfer. Croak by Gina D'Amico, The Lost Code by Kevin Emerson, The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw, Hush Hush and Crescendo by Becca Fitzpatrick, Rune Marks by Joanne Harris, The Iron King, The Iron Daughter, The Iron Queen, The Iron Knight, The Lost Prince, The Iron Traitor, and The Iron Warrior, all by Julie Kagawa. Love Fortunes and Other Disasters, and Love Charms and Other Catastrophes by Kimberly Carolias. Storm by Bridget Kemmerer, Reverie by Ryan LaSala, The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, Throne of Glass, and Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas, How to Hang a Witch, and Haunting the Deep by Adriana Mather, A Blade So Black by L.L. McKinney, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs, Carry On, and Wayward Son by Rainbow Roll, Kathy's Book, Kathy's Key, and Kathy's Ring by Stuart Wiseman and Brigg, The Emerald Door by Megan E. Vaughn, The Babysitter's Coven by Kate Williams, and Elsewhere by Gabrielle Zevin. Moving into my YA contemporary TBR, Killer Instinct and All In by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, American Panda by Gloria Chow, Struck by Lightning by Chris Colfer, 29 Dates by Melissa De La Cruz, Dear Evan Hansen by Val Emick, The Way You Make Me Feel, and Somewhere Only We Know by Maureen Gu, Take the Fall by Emily Hainsworth, Theatrical by Maggie Harcourt, Cure for the Common Universe by Christian McKay Heidecker. I know this one is not contemporary, it is a non-fiction, but I didn't know where else to put it. Vincent and Theo by Deborah Hilligman, For the Record by Charlotte Huang, Letters to the Lost by Bridget Kemmerer, Autobiography by Christina Lauren, Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart, Ship It by Britta London, The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Madsen, One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus, Foolish Hearts by Emma Mills, Gemini by Sonia Mukherjee, The Way to Game the Walk of Shame by Jen P. Wen, Holding Up the Universe by Jennifer Niven, Lucky Few by Catherine Ormsby, Geekarella by Ashley Poston, Winger by Andrew Smith, Standoff by Andrew Smith, The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, The Darkest Corners by Kara Thomas, The Art of Being Normal by Lisa Williamson, Running with Lions by Julian Winters, Frankly in Love by David Yoon, This Is Where the World Ends by Amy Jong. Now we're starting the fantasy TBR. Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson, Glass Sword and King's Cage by Victoria Aveyard, The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, White Cat, Red Glove, and Black Heart by Holly Black, The Beckoning Shadow by Catherine Blair, Romanov by Nadine Brandes, The Demon's Lexicon by Sarah Reese Brennan, Ink and Bone by Rachel Kane, The Brilliant Death by Amy Rose Capetta, Jane Unlimited by Kristen Kishore, The One by Kiera Cass, Wicked Fox by Kat Cho, Into the Crooked Place by Alexandra Christo, Scorch by Gina D'Amico, and The Fandom by Anna Day. Now we're starting on shelves that we consider as more paranormal. The Host by Stephanie Meyer. Yes, I do have two of them. The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer. I realize this is not paranormal at all, but all of my other Stephanie Meyer stuff is here. The special 10th anniversary edition of Twilight that contains Life and Death, Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn, all by Stephanie Meyer. Vampire Academy, Frostbite, Shadow Kiss, Blood Promise, Spirit Bound, and Last Sacrifice by Rochelle Mead. The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. The Hunt by Andrew Fukuda, Trying to Live with the Dead, When the Dead Come a-Knockin', When to Fear the Living, Whispers from the Dead, When Evil Comes to Play, Secrets from the Grave, and the original print version of Trying to Live with the Dead, all by B.L. Brunnemer. Rot and Ruin, Dust and Decay, Flesh and Bone, and Fire and Ash by Jonathan Mayberry, Alice in Zombieland by Gina Showalter, The Haunted, The Merciless 2, and Survive the Night by Danielle Vega, Generation Dead, Kiss of Life, Passing Strange, and Break My Heart 1,000 Times by Daniel Waters. Now we're moving into Harry Potter. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, The Chamber of Secrets, The Prisoner of Azkaban, The Goblet of Fire, The Order of the Phoenix, The Half-Blood Prince, The Deathly Hallows, The Cursed Child, The Sorcerer's Stone Illustrated Edition, The Chamber of Secrets Illustrated Edition, Prisoner of Azkaban Illustrated Edition, and Goblet of Fire Illustrated Edition. Now we have my Buffy shelf. Buffy the Vampire Slayer Omnibus Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, and Volume 5. Spike Omnibus, Buffy the High School Years Parental Parasite by Kel McDonald, Freaks and Geeks by Faith Erin Hicks, and Glutton for Punishment by Kel McDonald. Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 8, The Long Way Home, No Future for You, Wolves at the Gates, Time of Your Life, Predators and Prey, Retreat, Twilight, and Last Gleaming. Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 9, Freefall, On Your Own, Guarded, Welcome to the Team, The Core, Spike, and Willow. Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 10, New Rules, I Wish, Love Dares You, Old Demons, In Pieces on the Ground, and Own It. Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 11, The Spread of Their Evil, One Girl in All the Worlds, Giles, Girl in Blue, Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 12, The Reckoning, and the new Buffy the Vampire Slayer comics from Boom Comics, Volume 1, High School is Hell. Continuing with the fantasy TBR, Spellslinger by Sebastian D. Castell, Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan, The Dark Shore by Kevin Emerson, Of Metal and Wishes, and Of Dreams and Rust by Sarah Fine, Silence, and Finale by Becca Fitzpatrick, The Book Jumper by Mathilda Glasser, Thornjack, Briar Queen, and Nettle King by Catherine Harbour, The Devouring Grey by Christine Lynn Herman, Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa, A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer, Spark by Bridget Kemmerer, A Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee, Loki Where Mischief Lies by Mackenzie Lee, Saw Kill Girls by Claire Legrand, Warrior of the Wild by Trisha Levenseller, The Gracier by Kim Liggett, A Court of Mist and Fury, and A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas, The Assassin's Blade, and Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas, Made for You by Melissa Marr, A Dream So Dark by L.L. McKinney, When the Moon Was Ours, and Blanca and Roja by Anna Marie McLemore, Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nyong, The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen, The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson, Never World Wake by Marisha Pessel, There Will Come a Darkness by Katie Rose Poole, Never Contented Things by Sarah Porter, Wilder Girls by Rory Power, These Rebel Waves by Sarah Rosh, The Shadow Queen, and The Wish Granter by C.J. Redwine, Give the Dark My Love by Beth Revis, Hollow City by Ransom Riggs, An Enchantment of Ravens, and Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson, Wayward Son by Rainbow Roll, Pretty Little Werewolf, and A Weapon of Magical Destruction by Katie Salinas, The Rhythmatist by Brandon Sanderson, Four Dead Queens by Astrid Schulte, This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab, Grim Lovelies by Megan Shepard. Moving on to the second skinnier bookcase, we have my Barnes & Noble collectible editions, Little Women and Other Novels by Louisa May Alcott, The Wizard of Oz, the first 5 novels, and The Emerald City of Oz, novels 6 through 10 by L. Frank Baum, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Other Stories by Lewis Carroll, The Complete Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, A Wrinkle in Time trilogy by Madeleine L'Engle, Wicked and Son of a Witch by Gregory Maguire, Murder on the Orient Express and Other Hercule Poirot Mysteries by Agatha Christie, American Gods, and A Nazi Boys by Neil Gaiman, The Iliad and the Odyssey by Homer, The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, Carrie, The Shining and Salem's Lot by Stephen King, La Morte d'Arthur by Sir Thomas Malory, and Star Trek The Classic Episodes, A Monster Calls, The Knife of Never Letting Go, The Ask and the Answer, Monsters of Men, More Than This, The Rest of Us Just Live Here, and Release, all by Patrick Ness. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and Quidditch Through the Ages, The Tales of Beetle the Bard, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone Scots Edition, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in Irish, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in Welsh, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, The Chamber of Secrets, The Prisoner of Azkaban, The Goblet of Fire, The Order of the Phoenix, The Half-Blood Prince, and The Deathly Hallows. These are the UK paperback editions. All the Crooked Saints, The Raven Boys, and The Scorpio Races. These are all hardcover and signed. The Raven Boys, The Dream Thieves, Blue Lily Lily Blue, and The Raven King, The Scorpio Races, Lament and Ballad, Shiver and Linger, The Raven Boys, and The Dream Thieves in Chinese, and Lament in Japanese, all by Maggie Stiefvater. These will be graphic novels and oversized graphic novels or comics that just don't really fit in with the other comic bind-ups. In Real Life by Cory Doctorow and Jen Wang, Super Chill by Adam Ellis, Friends with Boys by Faith Erin Hicks, Reindeer Boy by Cassandra Jean, Bloom by Kevin Panetta, Bang Bang Boom by Melanie Schoen, Nimona by Noelle Stevenson, Check Please Book 1 by Ngozi Ukazu, Namesake Book 1, Book 2, and Book 3 by Isabel Melicon and Megan Levy-Heaton, Agents of the Realm Volume 1 Semester 1, and Agents of the Realm Volume 2 Semester 1 by Mildred Lewis, Overgrown by Siobhan Keenan, Barbarous Volume 1, and Barbarous Volume 2 by Hirsch and Oda. Now we're moving into my Cassandra Clare books. City of Bones, 10th Anniversary Edition, City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and City of Heavenly Fire, City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and City of Heavenly Fire, The Bane Chronicles, The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu, Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, and moving down, Clockwork Angel 10th Anniversary Edition, Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, Clockwork Princess, Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess, Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, Queen of Air and Darkness, Lady Midnight, and Lord of Shadows, Ghosts of the Shadow Market, A History of Notable Shadowhunters and Denizens of Downworld, told in the language of flowers, written by Cassandra Clare, illustrated by Cassandra Jean, and The Shadowhunters Codex. All of these books were by Cassandra Clare. This is the sci-fi shelf, Lux Beginnings and Consequences by Jennifer L. Armentrout, At the Edge of the Universe by Sean David Hutchinson, Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, Illumine, Gemina, and Obsidio by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, Starflight by Melissa Landers, Arclight by Hossein El Nequin, Unraveling by Elizabeth Norris, and The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg. Now we have some graphic novels / comic bind-ups. Alice From Dream to Dream by Giulio Massione and Julia Adrigana, Afterglow by Pat Shand and Kaylin Smith, Aviale Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, and Chapter 4 by Lucid, Dodge City by Josh Trujillo and Kara McGee, Dragon Age The Silent Grove, Those Who Speak, and Until We Sleep by David Gator, Alexander Freed, and Chad Harden. Dragon Age Mage Killer by Greg Rucka. Dragon Age Knight Errant by Nunzio De Filippis. Exorcisters Volume 1, Damned If You Don't by Ian Boothby. Fence Volume 1 by C.S. Picot and Joanna the Mad. Hex 11 Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Lisa K. Weber and Kelly Sue Milano. Humbug by A.J. Gentile. Low Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Rick Remender, Mass Effect Redemption, and an alternate cover of Mass Effect Redemption, Mass Effect Evolution, Mass Effect Invasion, and Mass Effect Homeworlds, Mass Effect Foundation Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3 by Mac Walters, Mass Effect Discovery by Jeremy Barlow, Moonstruck by Grace Ellis and Shea Beagle, Niobe Shia's Life by Sebastian A. Jones and Amanda Stenberg, Neverland by Stephanie Salyers, Plume Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, and Volume 4 by Kaylin Smith, Rat Queens Volume 1, Sass and Sorcery, Volume 2, The Far-Reaching Tentacles of Naragath, and Volume 3, Demons by Curtis Wiebe, Saga Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, and Volume 5 by Fiona Staples and Brian K. Vaughan, Serenity, Those Left Behind, Better Days and Other Stories, The Shepherd's Tale, an alternate cover of The Shepherd's Tale, Leaves on the Wind, and No Power in the Verse by Joss Wheaton and others, Silver by Stephen Franck, Skyward by Joe Henderson, Stained by David Barron, The Umbrella Academy Apocalypse Suite, Dallas, and Hotel Oblivion by Gerard Way and Gabriel Ba, Wayward Volume 1, String Theory, Volume 2, Ties That Bind, Volume 3, Out from the Shadows by Jim Zub, The Wicked and the Divine, The Faust Act, Fandemonium, Commercial Suicide, and Rising Action by Kieran Gillen, Wildlife by Pascal Alepis, Young Avengers Style Over Substance, Alternative Culture, and Mic Drop at the Edge of Time and Space by Kieran Gillen. Now we have my YA Sci-Fi TBR, Lux Opposition by Jennifer L. Armentrout, Avalon by Mindy Arnett, Contagion by Aaron Bowman, Wayfarer by Alexandra Bracken, The Disasters by M.K. England, Black Hole Sun, and Invisible Sun by David McInnes Gill, Invictus by Ryan Groudon, Falls the Shadow by Stephanie Gaither, The Apocalypse of Elena Mendoza, The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried, and We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson, Dare Mighty Things by Heather Kaczynski, Lifelike by Jay Kristoff, The Thousandth Floor by Catherine McGee, Meridian by Hossein El McQueen, Unbreakable by Elizabeth Norris, Where Futures End by Parker Peavyhouse, Want by Cindy Pon, Zero Repeat Forever by G.S. Prendergast, Nixia by Scott Reintgen. I hope you get this message by Farah Nazrishi. Okay, now we're jumping back to Fantasy TBR, Scythe and Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman, A Darkly Beating Heart by Lindsay Smith, Beneath the Citadel by Destiny Soria, Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater, The Other Normals by Ned Vizzini, The Guinevere Deception, and I Darken by Kirsten White. All These Things I've Done by Gabrielle Zevin, Blood Air by Amelie Wen Zhao, moving into what I consider my paranormal TBR, Bad Girls Don't Die, and From Bad to Cursed by Katie Allender, Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendara Blake, Prey by Andrea Fukuda, Through the Zombie Glass by Gina Showalter, The Merciless Number 3, and The Merciless Number 4 Last Rites by Danielle Vega, Slayer by Kirsten White, and now entering Adamsville by Francesca Zappia. And then we have some leftover sci-fi TBR that didn't quite fit on the other shelf. Skyward and Starsight by Brandon Sanderson, They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, and Crier's War by Nina Varela. Okay, and now we're moving into the manga bookcase. The Dissolving Classroom, Junji Ito's Cat Diary, Yan and Mu, Fragments of Horror, Frankenstein, Gyo, Tomi, Uzumaki, Shiver, and Smashed, all by Junji Ito, Death Note Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, and Volume 6, all by Tsukumi Oba, The Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, and Volume 4, all by Eiji Otsuka. The Drifting Classroom Volume 1 by Kazuo Umez. Occultic 9, Light Novel Volume 1, and Volume 2 by Shikura Chiyomaru. Ouran High School Host Club Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, Volume 10, Volume 11, Volume 12, Volume 13, Volume 14, Volume 15, Volume 16, Volume 17, and Volume 18, all by Bisco Hattori. Millennium Snow, Volumes 1 and 2, and 3 and 4 by Bisco Hattori. Behind the Scenes, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, and Volume 6 by Bisco Hattori. QQ Sweeper Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3 by Kyosuke Motomi. Queen's Quality Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, and Volume 7 by Kyosuke Motomi. The Seven Princes of the Thousand-Year Labyrinth Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, and Volume 4 by Ettore Haruno. Ghost Hunt Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, Volume 10, and Volume 11 by Shiho Inada and Fuyumi Ono. Horimiya Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, Volume 10, Volume 11, and Volume 12 by Hiro and Daisuke Hagiwara. Orange, The Complete Collection Volume 1, Volume 2, and Orange Future by Ichigo Takano. Dream and Sun Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, and Volume 10 by Ichigo Takano. Become You Volume 1 by Ichigo Takano. Otomi Mania Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Tsukugase Yorino. Meteor Prince Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Mecha Tanaka. Princess Jellyfish Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, and Volume 9 by Akiko Higashimura. Tokoyo Tarareba Girls Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, and Volume 4 by Akiko Higashimura. Ao Haru Ride Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, and Volume 8 by Ayo Sakisaka. The Demon Prince of Momochi House Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, Volume 10, Volume 11, Volume 12, Volume 13, and Volume 14, all by Aya Shoto. Waiting for Spring Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, Volume 10, and Volume 11, all by Anishin. Fruits Basket Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, Volume 10, Volume 11, and Volume 12, all by Natsuki Takaya. Your Lie in April Volume 1, an alternate cover for Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, Volume 10, and Volume 11, all by Naoshi Arakawa. That Blue Sky Feeling Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Okura. Kenka Bansho Otome Loves Battle Royale Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Chie Shimada. I Hear the Sunspot by Yuki Fumino. Tokyo Ghoul Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, and Volume 9, all by Sui Ishida. Kiss Him Not Me Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, Volume 10, Volume 11, and Volume 12, all by Junko. Persona 4, Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3, all by Shuji Sogabe and Atlas. Anonymous Noise Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, and Volume 5, all by Ryoko Fukuyama. Carnival by Toya Mikanagi. The Promised Neverland Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Kayu Shirai. Number 6 Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Atsuko Asano. The Case Study of Vanitas Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, and Volume 4, all by Jun Mochizuki. Soul Eater Volume 1 by Atsushi Okubo. School Live Volume 1 by Norimitsu Kaiho. Triple X Holic Volume 1 and Tsubasa Volume 1 by Clamp. And this is our final bookcase. This is what I would consider more of my middle grade case, or books that I read when I was around middle grade age. I know there's a couple that probably don't fit here as well, but they're here anyway. Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, Fever 1793 by Laurie Halse Anderson, Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie, the German edition of the first book in the Magisterium by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, The Iron Trial, The Copper Gauntlet, and The Bronze Key by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, The Incredible Journey by Sheila Burnford, Code Orange, Hush Little Baby, The Face on the Milk Carton, Whatever Happened to Janie, The Voice on the Radio, What Janie Found, and Twins, all by Carolyn B. Cooney, The Witches by Roald Dahl, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang by Ian Fleming, Stepping on the Cracks by Mary Downing Hahn, Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine, Gifts by Ursula K. Le Guin, Penelope by Marilyn Kay, Freaks by Annette Curtis Klaus, The Green Fairy Book by Andrew Lang, The Yearbook by Peter Larangis, The Declaration by Gemma Malley, Sleeping Beauty, the one who took the really long nap, and Rapunzel, the one with all the hair, both by Wendy Mass, Artemis Fowl, the graphic novel by Owen Colfer and Andrew Donkin, Artemis Fowl, The Arctic Incident, The Eternity Code, The Opal Deception, The Lost Colony, The Time Paradox, The Atlantis Complex, and The Last Guardian, Artemis Fowl, The Arctic Incident, The Eternity Code, The Opal Deception, The Lost Colony, The Time Paradox, The Atlantis Complex, and The Last Guardian, all by Owen Colfer. Anne of Green Gables, Anne of Green Gables, Anne of Avonlea, Anne of the Island, Anne of Windy Poplars, Anne's House of Dreams, Anne of Ingleside, Rainbow Valley, and Rilla of Ingleside, as well as another Anne of Green Gables, all by L.M. Montgomery. Midnight for Charlie Bone and the Time Twister, The Invisible Boy, The Castle of Mirrors, The Hidden King, The Beast, The Shadow, and The Red Knight, all by Jenny Nimmo. Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell, Bridge to Terabithia by Catherine Patterson, Shadow House The Gathering by Dan Poblocki, The Lightning Thief, The Sea of Monsters, The Titan's Curse, The Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian, The Lost Hero, The Son of Neptune, The Mark of Athena, The House of Hades, and The Blood of Olympus, all by Rick Riordan. Del Toro Quest by Emily Rhoda, Lessons in Fear by Diana Shaw, The Egypt Game by Zilpha Keatley Snyder, The Bad Beginning and The Bad Beginning Rare Edition by Lemony Snicket, Waterbound by Jane Stemp, Halloween Night Books 1 and 2, The New Year's Party, and Twisted, all by R.L. Stein, The Velveteen Rabbit by Marjorie Williams. Now we have the middle grade TBR, Among the Ghosts by Amber Benson, The Silver Mask, and The Golden Tower by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, The Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell by Chris Colfer, The Fowl Twins, and The Supernaturalist by Owen Colfer, The Adventures of Penelope Hawke by J.V. Gray, Ferals, and The Swarm Descends by Jacob Gray, The Magic Misfits by Neil Patrick Harris, Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones, Skullduggery Pleasant by Derek Landy, Frog Kisser by Garth Nix, Die Softly, Final Friends Book 1 The Party, Final Friends Book 1 The Party, Final Friends Book 2 The Dance, Final Friends Book 3 The Graduation, Master of Murder, Scavenger Hunt, Weekend, Whisper of Death, and The Wicked Heart, all by Christopher Pike, Shadow House You Can't Hide by Dan Poblocki, Magnus Chase, The Sword of Summer, and The Hammer of Thor, The Trials of Apollo, The Hidden Oracle, and The Dark Prophecy, all by Rick Riordan, Deltora Shadowlands by Emily Rhoda, Levin Thumps and the Gateway to Fu by Obert Sky, Don't Die Dragonfly, Last Dance, Witchball, Swordplay, Fatal Charm, and Magician's Muse, all by Linda Joy Singleton. And then down here on the very last shelf are actually graphic novels / comic bind-ups that still need to be read. I just didn't have anywhere better to put them. Mare Internum by Dershing Helmer, Arthur Blackfrost by Justin Vincent Gray, The 12, The Father by Patrick Trahey, Adventure Van by Michael McMillan, Aviale Chapter 5 by Lucid, The Boston Metaphysical Society by Madeline Holly Rosing, Death Vigil Volume 1 by Stefan Sejic, Fence Volume 2 and Fence Volume 3 by C.S. Picot and Joanna the Mad, Firefly, The Unification War Part 1 by Greg Pak, A Flower in a Field of Lions by Ryan Cody and Tyler Bolton, Isola Chapter 1 by Brendan Fletcher, Koroja by Keith Foster, Life is Strange Dust by Emma Vaselli, Long Lost Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Matthew Ehrman, Low Volume 3 Shore of the Dying Light by Rick Remender, Nomad, The City of Empty Towers, and The Cave of Broken Tombs, Part 1 of 3 by Andrew Kafori, Saga Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, and Volume 9 by Fiona Staples and Brian K. Vaughan, Shards Volume 1 by multiple authors, Silver Volume 2, Volume 3, and Volume 4 by Stefan Frank, Skyward Volume 2 by Joe Henderson, Wayward Volume 4, Threads and Portents by Jim Zub, The Wicked and the Divine, Imperial Phase Part 1, and Part 2 by Kieran Gillen. And so that is it. This filming took so much longer than I thought. I know that there's been people that have done bookshelf tours and they almost always say how long it takes because I like to watch these videos, which is why I'm doing this. But I don't think I realized exactly how long filming every single book, which is, like I said earlier, like 1,200 and something, was going to take this freaking long. I hope you guys liked this video because I'm doing it because I like it, but I hope you like it as well. If you did like it, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more videos. I do have videos up Mondays and Thursdays, so I will see you then. Bye!